And I think it all starts with leadership, like one, how we lead ourselves, for sure. Like you mentioned, people that are toxically negative, they're not going to be able to recruit or hire. And if you view your business and your business problems with the glass half empty, you're kind of like doomed before you get started. So I think I've always just taken a very optimistic viewpoint towards life and business, and I've really tried to really model. It's actually a model in leadership called transformational servant leadership, or TSL, if you want to Google it. And I did some courses around that through school and really learned how a leader can actually serve their people. And I think it's a very kind of upside down pyramid, Shawn, of how you can build a business. Is a lot of times we see maybe our technicians as, oh, those are just the lowly window cleaners or the pressure washing guys or the janitors. And I think that's always struck a chord with me to flip that upside down and actually say, hey, how can the leader, how can the CEO actually serve their team and take care of them and build this business from the guts out? So I think that's just how I've been running my companies. And I think we'll probably get into it, but see like nice low turnover every year and really build something that people want to be part of. So I think that's really where I've learned it, is that servant leadership model, and it's worked quite well.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're in the process of doing with blue collar recruiting, that's kind of been our brand for a couple of years now, 4 or 5 years. And, we hopped on the Facebook Live stuff and branded that just before COVID. So it's probably been 4 or 5 years, something like that. And it's worked very well for us to get that brand out there and be sort of that blue collar type of company, although we can get salespeople and operations managers and things like that. But our niche has always been that. But because we've been doing this for so long and we've really built some really good relationships with affiliates and things like that, all of a sudden there's a dental office, and then there's a daycare, and then and I'm going, okay, we need to think about this, because I'm blue collar, man. I'm blue collar. Everywhere we talk is blue collar recruiting, always be recruiting and that. So we're looking to rebrand a little bit, and I think we can transition that. And I am sold, after talking to thousands of business owners and having a bunch of friends that are entrepreneurs and business owners. I am sold on the fact, and I've thought a lot about this over the last several months, that if you can master these 3 things, you're pretty much going to be, successful in business. I truly think you give yourself the best odds at being a real successful business owner. And I think even further than that, you're going to accomplish things, or at least give yourself better odds, much better odds, in accomplishing things you didn't even think you can accomplish. And those 3 things, to me, and I'm biased a little bit, and number 1 is recruiting, number 2 is leadership, and number 3 is culture.
Yes.
If you master those 3 things, and if you think about it, David, all 3 of those have to do with employees, people, not cash flow. That is important, and Plata knows how important that is, my bookkeeping buddy, right? There's 1,000 other systems, processes, legality, get a good attorney, get a good bookkeeper. All those things are important. But if you've got leadership and you've got culture that promotes people to do those things for you and handle those things for you, and create those and help create those processes, I think those are the 3 pillars, in my view, of right now. And I might change in 5 years from now, because I'm sure not the same guy I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. But that's where I'm at with things right now. You master those 3 things, man, and you got some odds of being amazing.
Yeah, man. Like the right people on your team will fix problems for you with you, the business owner. The wrong people will actually create problems and bring the business down. And it's kind of this like chicken and egg thing, right? Because there's a number of business books that say you build the system and all you got to do is plug someone in and run this McDonald's model. And I actually think like that doesn't necessarily translate direct into home services, especially the more trades of like plumbing, electrical, like where you have to go to school for a number of years. Like I really look at my company and I look at our key people, our rock stars, I call them, and a really, like, I'll tell you about my rock star office manager, Katrina. She, handles our schedule, but she can also go out on offense and go and sell jobs. And it's like, I could design a sales process. Yes. And we have one, and that's important. But if you don't have the right operator to go out and shark that work, then you're kind of doomed before you start. So I think it does start with the people. That's what you need in your company. And I think especially a lot of people listening, you know, if you're sub $500,000 of work, your first couple hires are just so key. Shawn, we call them multiplier hires, right? Where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 11. How can I actually have someone come with me and I could maybe build out an umbrella under them of technicians or multiple people in the office? So, you know, to your point on culture too, like that's just where your first few hires are key too, because when the culture moves from the business owner to the team, that's a very key handoff you want to make sure is done properly. Otherwise, you could, and I would hate to see this, but you could create a business that you actually hate to come into work to every day. And that's a big problem.